Have you ever let your mind drift back to your childhood? Pleasant memories of games and friends. If you have siblings, you may spend hours recalling your past with them. But have you ever been the only one who remembers something? Something you thought was so drastic, so important to your family, and yet no one else seems to recall? That happened to me. I've got an older sister, and because she is older, she remembers a lot more of her childhood than I do, except when it comes to one dusty corner of my memory. We had very active imaginations as children, and we never just played with our toys. We would spend hours setting up location, the characters, and a plot. In fact, the actual game usually lasted no more than a few minutes, because all of our time was spent on deciding the names, jobs, relationships, and goals of our dolls. This was normal to us. A game is boring unless there's a story to go with it. My sister remembers all of this and can name almost all of our characters we created. That is, except for one. His name was Mr. Valee. For all of our other characters, there was a doll or statuette or some sort of embodiment to the character. But for Mr. Valee, there was none. No face, no body, nothing physical we compared him to. This was because we had created him as a traveler. Anytime we would play a game and set up the story, Mr. Valee would be somewhere else. Sometimes France or England, sometimes in the South, other times he was just on the run. Mr. Valee was a shady character, though my young mind couldn't exactly understand what it is he did. I knew that he was involved in something that forced him to be constantly on the run. And on his frequent travels to exotic places, he would send us gifts. I remember wrapping up some of our clothes, jewelry, or toys, and writing "From Mr. Valee" on them before delivering the packages to my sister. And on rare occasions, I remember pretending that Mr. Valee had arrived at our house for a visit. My sister would describe him. He had black hair, green eyes, he wore a dark suit, and sometimes he would wear a hat. My sister would talk to him, and then she would tell me what he had said in response. I wanted to talk to Mr. Valee too, but my sister said that he had only come to talk to her. This didn't bother me too much. After all, he wasn't actually real. But he was real to her. I remember playing house with them. I was the baby, my sister was the mom, and Mr. Valee was my dad. Sometimes he would be away on a business trip, but other times he was there. He was invisible, but to us, he was there. We would set an extra place at our pretend dinners for him. We would play tag with him. He would play dolls with us, and much more. I remember everything, and these were great memories. But my sister, she doesn't remember anything. She remembers his name, but that's it. That's it. None of the gifts, none of the conversations or the games, nothing. I'm the only one who remembers him. And somewhere deep in the back of my memories, buried under dust and fog, I think back to Mr. Valee. Something deeper than any feeling I have ever known reaches out to me and tells me to believe, to remember, to cling to these memories and never lose them. Because children soon forget.